One of my top secrets for investing is how to get your investments to pay you twice. That's right, you heard me, not just once, but twice. So stay tuned for a strategy on how you can get more out of your investments than you think is actually possible. All right, so how do we do this? Well, number one, we create this tax-free supercharged savings account, right? What am I talking about here? I'm talking about using life insurance. Yes, you can actually use life insurance for more than just dying. You can actually use it while you're alive. Now, the one thing is that banks have been using this strategy for many, many years, right? We're gonna talk about a strategy called infinite banking. Now, banks have been using this, like I said, for many years, decades even. In fact, I even have a consultant for our company where his grandfather owned a bank, and what did they invest in a lot of? Life insurance policies to do this very strategy. Because what it allows you to do is make money here instead of life insurance, and you can still invest with it at the same time. Or in other words, you can have your cake and eat it too. So here's the way it works, is that you can build up cash inside this life insurance policy. Again, this is not the death benefit. You can actually have this tax-free savings account that pays you more than 0.nothing% like you get at the bank. You actually earn up to at least 5 or 6% even now with lower interest rate environments. You're earning at least 5 or 6% tax-free on this money, on this savings account that is now growing, but you can get a line of credit against it. And what does that mean? It means you can borrow from either the insurance company or a bank and use that money to then go and invest in whatever you want to do. And then you can invest in whatever you want. I mean, you can put this into buying real estate, which we love, of course. You can go put it into your business. We have many business owners that use this in their business to leverage and use and then pay back in and then cycle it back through again. What this allows you to do though is that you're still earning interest here inside of life insurance because you don't pull the money out, even though that's an option, but you also make money over here at the same time. Understand that most people, when they try to invest, they take money out of savings or checking where they're earning 0.nothing%, they pull it out, and then they invest it. They make money in one place. But remember, because you pull the money out of that savings account or that checking account, it's not earning money anymore, is it? But in the whole life policies, you can actually get money earning while still get a line of credit against it to go and make more money, essentially making at least 1, 2, 3+% return on top of whatever returns you're gonna get anyways. That's the key example right there. So here's how it really works. This is how you really get this to really work and move and flow your money. Because most people take money out of their checking, they go and invest it. Then when they make the returns or the cash flow from that, they take that money and put it back into the savings account again, right? You're doing the same thing, except instead of using the savings account, you're using that money to put right back in to your life insurance policy. So you're using this to pay down that line of credit with that insurance company or with that bank. What does that do? It frees up the money to then use again. You're reducing your payments, or you're reducing the interest you're paying on that loan, and you're still making money on those investments. So as you're doing that, interest that you get charged goes down, while the interest you're earning in your account also goes up. You can take the money and reinvest it again. It's the same thing you're doing with the savings account. You're just now using the life insurance cash value to do the same thing. All right, here's the thing. Most people just don't get this, right? Because it does sound complex. In practicality, it's actually not that hard. But there are guys out there like your good old Dave Ramsey's or your Susie Ormans that poo-poo all over this strategy, right? They'll say, it doesn't work. Yeah, doing those paid up additions, it's a waste of money. It doesn't work. Just buy term and invest the difference, right? I agree. You know, if you use the traditional whole life insurance policy that they're talking about, yes, they stink. Don't ever do that. And even if they talk about paid up additions, they haven't seen what our company can do with those, where you can minimize those costs so low that the policy actually pays for itself by the 3rd or 4th year. So it actually gains more than what you're putting in, creating ultimately this tax-free, like I said, supercharged savings account, where there's no net cost coming out of it. You actually have a net gain for really after just the first couple years. So that money is able to be used over and over. Key points. Don't just dump money in. There are some people out there in the infinite banking world who say, dump in $100,000, $200,000 at once and then pay later on. The only reason they recommend that is because they make more money. The insurance company and the agents make more money. They're trying to swindle you basically. Don't do that whole dump in strategy. You dump a bunch of money in, even if you think it's exciting, don't do it. There are ways to put in steady streams of money into these policies that will allow you to still make more money and a better rate of return than doing that kind of strategy. All right. So most people don't get it, including insurance agents. I guarantee if you ask most normal insurance agents what infinite banking is, they have no clue. And even if they do know how to do it, they won't know how to do it well where you get most of your money back. This is the problem. There's 2 reasons why this happens. One, either the insurance agent doesn't know it. Why? Because the insurance company won't teach you how to manipulate the system to have you make more money than they do. Insurance companies don't have an incentive for you to be able to do this. We do, because we are investors first and foremost, and then we do insurance second. So insurance companies don't teach it to their agents, and then even if the agents figure it out, they don't want to cut their commissions. because they aren't financially free themselves. They don't do investing. They're just insurance salespeople. They need to keep making money. They'll find ways to get it higher. By the way, if you ever watch other infinite banking videos, you might hear them say, hey, you should put 60% towards cash, 40% towards cost. That's the perfect blend. Why is it the perfect blend? It's not for you. It's actually for them, not you. You get charged double what you should be charged each year, while they make double the commissions. I'm telling you, don't do those kind of things. Again, great people out there, well-intentioned, but again, because they need the paycheck, they will charge you more in insurance costs than you need. That is key. I actually had one client that was a dentist that had these infinite banking policies set up. And he had them for several years. And they were putting in, between the two, him and his wife, roughly almost about $150,000 or almost $200,000 a year. Well, they said, Chris, can you do an apples to apples example? Can you see if we're doing a good job here? And at first glance, I said, you know what? We probably don't want to mess with these because you've been in it for several years. One of them, they've been in for 8 years, but they hadn't even made their money back yet. So when I ran the numbers to do an apples to apples comparison, guess what? We found out in 20 years, they would actually make, I kid you not, $2.25 million more in our policies than what their infinite banker was promising to give them. Same exact numbers going in, apples to apples, but ours came out $2.25 million higher. And by the way, it wasn't just because it was a different insurance company. We even had one that was the same insurance company, still came out better. So that's the key, guys. $2.25 million more of cash they had in 20 years. Can you imagine what you can invest and how much money you can make off of that? And they even had a bigger death benefit in 20 years too. So it was pretty incredible. Another example, this guy was a real estate investor, has his own company that he does a lot of stuff, very smart guy, but he was sold an infinite banking policy that wasn't quite the best. Found out that after 6 years of paying into it, he only had half of his money back. Just so you know, in our policies, you usually make at least all your money back by the 5th or 6th year, where there's at least as much as what you've paid in. He had half. And I told him even 6 years prior, I said, guy, this guy's full of crap. Don't listen to him. He's a total, I don't want to say a loser, but the guy definitely was money driven. Let's just say that, right? The guy wanted to screw him over. He did. Well, we switched him over, got him to do a much better policy, and things worked better. It's much better if you're looking at these, if you're shopping around, just to do apples to apples comparison. We actually had a lady where we did that. Get this, $10,000 a year she was going to put into a policy. We were able to save her $2,000 a year in cost, meaning that $2,000 more went to her cash value in just the first year, really the first month that she put that money in. She had $2,000 more because she wasn't paying it to all insurance costs. That's a key difference. If you get that efficient, you get that lower cost, what does that mean? You have more cash to use. That cash that can then go and use and create that whole cycle of money as you're going to invest it, taking the cash flow and the returns, putting it back to pay down the line of credit, to then invest again and do it again. Over and over and over, you cycle this money through, and what happens? You actually make, in reality, money in two places at the same time. Not just theory, but in reality, you actually make more. I showed another example of someone who was trying to save about $25,000 a year plus another $30,000 they had coming from investments. Showed apples to apples that in 10 years they could actually create about $110,000 a year of passive income. But guess what? By using this system instead of creating $110,000 a year of income after 10 years, they were able to get to $120,000 of passive income. It gave them $10,000 more of passive income after 10 years. Same money that was going out as normal, but they had more. And guess what? The bonus, you even have a death benefit to protect your family. And that's pretty important too. We've actually had clients recently that have passed away, and definitely not something we like. It's something that I never wish on anyone. But you know what? It's life. And the cool thing is, it's not cool that they died, but at least if there's a silver lining in this situation, is that at least their families were protected, that even though they were using this money to make money and create more passive income, at the same time, they've protected their family. And that helped, especially the spouses that were left behind with their children that said, I'm so overwhelmed with everything going on and coming at me. I don't know what to do, but at least this money's coming in to help give me some relief and buy me some time. Guys, again, this is not just about death insurance. This is life insurance. This is actually how you can enjoy this while you're alive. And not just while you're alive, you can actually start investing with this money that's in here within the first year. So guys, this is not just something that you can do down the road. This is not like the typical infinite banking you hear about, which is, hey, you can buy a car or buy a house with it after 15, 20 years. No, this is something that you can actually start using right in the first month. It's awesome, guys. It's so cool. So that's the key thing, is that this really allows you to get that double dip effect. You can make money in two places at the same time, or in essence, have your cake and eat it too. Hey guys, if you really want to go deeper down this rabbit hole, check out this next video. Is infinite banking a scam? We'll give you more information on that. Click here now.